Let's say good day now to Chad Gibbs, a fervent Auburn fan. In his book, Faith and Fanaticism in the SEC, he writes, "Welcome to the American South, where God and football scrimmage daily for people's hearts and minds." And on the phone, we say hello to Christopher Walsh, who covers the Crimson Tide for BamaOnline.com. And we continue as well with our conversation with the radio host, Paul Feinbaum. Gentlemen, all welcome. Chad, what do you think is greater right now? Embarrassment on the part of Bama or anger on the part of Auburn?
It's probably equal. If the shoes were on the other foot, we would certainly be embarrassed. I think most Auburn people are certainly hoping that there's not retribution for this act, that we will be exposed to this national spotlight. And, Auburn fans are very upset, too. We've had a tradition taken away, something that we hope to share with our children one day, and now we've had that taken away, and we're a little bit devastated about it.
So, Chris, from the Bama side of this, I know there have been contributions made to a Facebook effort to contribute to the effort to save the trees, but what is Bama Nation feeling right now?
Honestly, I think they're beginning to feel a little bit of, this was kind of last week's story, and it's been lingering a little bit. Most people from Alabama have tried to distance themselves from this. They're saying, it's the act of one alleged person as far as they know, and granted, they're embarrassed. I mean, that was a good word that you used, but I think they kind of want to move on now.
So they're blaming the media?
A little bit. It was kind of interesting last night, though. The men's basketball team had a game against Auburn, and I was looking really closely, and I think I saw like one T-shirt that kind of made a reference to the trees, but that was it.
Paul, what are you detecting more on the part of your callers, and who's resonating more emotionally in this right now, Auburn or Alabama folks?
Well, I think Auburn fans are very unhappy, and some have even called in and literally wanted this defendant strung up. They described it as a hate crime. And one more thing, Bob, about Harvey Updike, which may not be known. He wanted to name his third child Alabama. It was a female. He has two Labrador retrievers. One is named Crimson, and the other one is named Nikki in honor of Nick Saban.
All right. With that as prelude, let me begin first with Paul and ask: Is this defendant, Harvey Updike, is he an outlier, to use the word made famous by Malcolm Gladwell, or does he represent a critical mass of something here?
The conventional wisdom among many people is that he is an outlier, but I don't think he is. Bob, I've spoken to him a couple of times. He's an Alabama fan through and through. 40 years ago, he ran on the field at the Bluebonnet Bowl with a Tide box and toilet paper. He loves Alabama football. That's his entire life. He has an Alabama tattoo, and as much as the people in Tuscaloosa want to say, we don't know this guy, he's not a season ticket holder, he went to the national championship game a year ago at the Rose Bowl. He went to the Iron Bowl this year, and to say that he's not an Alabama fan is not being honest.
So, Chris, where does he fall? Is he on a lunatic fringe, if guilty as charged? These are allegations. Or is he close to a center of something?
Oh, I don't think he's close to a center or something, but it's the passions here run incredibly deep, and to sit there and say that there's a part of Alabama fans that don't feel this way would just be naive, because that is the way it is.
Is there anything positive out of this, Chris?
Boy, I'm trying to think of something that's going to be positive, and it's kind of funny because I hear people say, well, it's taking the rivalry to new heights. I don't know if that's necessarily true, because, they had to get the state legislature involved to get these teams to play to begin with. So, I mean, the tensions are definitely high. I don't think it's going to, bring these two schools or teams together in any way, shape, or form in the long, major scope of things.
Chad, what do you think people outside SEC country, people who do not breathe, eat, feel, emote their college football program, what do you think they're saying about this?
I'm sure they're shaking their heads, but
and saying
it's
what?
Just, it's part of those crazy Alabama people. But it's what happens when we idolize stuff. I believe when you idolize, you demonize, and if you love Alabama or Auburn football this much, it makes you demonize the other team. And it's something we all struggle with, but not a very small percentage is going to go and commit a felony over it.
But Paul, we heard on that recorded phone call what might have been the trigger event for Harvey Updike. He talked about a Scam Newton jersey at the Iron Bowl. The Iron Bowl, of course, the annual game between Auburn and Alabama, being placed on a Bear Bryant statue. Explain the backstory and just educate us on how that might just have triggered this.
Well, that is the elephant in the room, Bob. Alabama fans look at Auburn's national championship a couple weeks ago as illegitimate. They look at it as being illegitimate because of Cam Newton. They don't think he should have been eligible. A lot of people around college football agree, as you know, and we've talked about on this program. And I think that has made them very angry. And I think in Harvey Updike's case, that's what drove him to do what he did. He's accused of doing because they just don't feel like Auburn should have been in that game. And as a result, they're acting very angrily and viscerally.
Yeah, how emotional, Chris, is that in Crimson Tide Nation, the Auburn victory, given the allegations and what was admitted to by Auburn this past year?
Yeah, I think Paul's dead on this. I think Alabama not only thinks that, Auburn got an illegitimate championship, they're very, very anxious to see what happens with the investigations, and every single day there are new rumors that are coming out, being substantiated and so forth. This time of year, normally we're talking about, around campus, who's going to be the third string linebacker. The really big talk that's going on is what's going on at Auburn.
Chad, the word that Chris used was anxious, which can mean a number of things. How anxious, are there anxious people in Auburn, in the aggregation of Auburn fans about what shoe might drop here?
Well, personally, I'm still sleeping fine at night, and, I don't think anyone's going to be coming to take my national championship T-shirt away anytime soon.
Now, do I understand correctly that, Paul, they have, at least on the surface, begun to, beyond the contributions, there have been sister trees planted on the opposing campuses by the student government presidents and plaques and whatnot, so there's an effort to try and begin a healing process here?
Yeah, that is, in my opinion, Bob, and I know you're not going to be surprised, window dressing. I think deep down, aside from the officials and the governor and everyone saying the right thing, Alabama fans are pretty angry that they've been blamed for something that they had no part of. So they're going through the motions. But there are some fears here. There were police protecting the Bear Bryant statue outside of Bryant-Denny Stadium. In 2 months, Nick Saban will have his own statue unveiled. And I think Alabama fans believe that Auburn fans are going to retaliate.
It's a very tough thing, and we have a great responsibility to ask responsible questions, and it's hanging out there. Do you think something's going to happen? Some nut is going to try something?
Yes, I do.
Chris?
I don't have a real good feel for that. I think the feeling is everyone from the governor on down in the state is hoping no, but I wouldn't rule it out.
And Chad?
It won't be me. I can't speak for my wife, but it won't be me.
All right, and we've got you on record. Paul Feinbaum, Chad Gibbs, Chris Walsh, appreciate it, gentlemen. Fascinating story, and appreciate your time today. Visit our page at facebook.com/OTL to leave your comments on our wall, see program previews and unique content. You can also follow me on Twitter at Bob Lee ESPN. We'll be right back.
Outside the Lines First Report, brought to you by New Windows Phone, designed to get you in and out and back to life.